In the name of Amen, the Supreme, the All-Powerful, the one and only true Lord, and Amen we trust as the Republic of Mentellect, the true 144,000 that's being gathered in this day and time and into the future. And Amen we trust, and Amen we think, and Amen we continue forward forever. I'd like to greet you all in the Mentellian greeting of Menzek Aminun to all of you who are listening to me tonight. I'm going to be discussing diet. Why women should be vegans and men shouldn't or should not. One of the reasons is because women have more glands than men. Women have more glands than men to store potential toxins, right? Men sweat more than women, right? And this is how men let out their toxins in their body. Women have more glands in order to store, and that potentially can be used to store body fat, toxins in the body, and can cause all sorts of tumors and cancer, right? So ever so often, she has to be cleansed out. Her mammary glands, her breast, her hips, right? She carries extra glands because she carries children, right? And that body fat is stored, and she is designed to carry children. The way her hips are, her buttocks and things like that, her breasts are all meant to carry children, to house children. Now, as I said, men, when they're taking in food, they're taking in air, things like that, they can sweat this out through work and things of that nature. They have more sweat glands, right? Sweat glands and the ability to house certain energy when you're eating food comes from protein. Now, people don't understand this, and I'm going to say this because it's going to be the first time you're ever going to hear this any place, right? And that is that protons are the beginning stages of protein. You're not going to hear this anyplace else. Your scientists are not saying this yet, but they will eventually. Mark my words. This is going to be the first place you hear this on Mentellect Radio. Protons are nothing but stored energy inside atoms, the same as protein is stored in the bodies. All right? And it has to be constantly let loose or let out. A man lets out his protein several ways: through exercise, through sweat, through work, through sexual intercourse. When he ejaculates, protein is let out of the man that way. Right? And when it goes into a woman, she naturally, her body attacks that protein, right? Because it's a foreign substance to her, right? It is considered a foreign substance that is entering her body. And a lot of times when she cleanses out, when she has her periods and things like that, she's pushing excess protein from sexual encounter out, or children that she did not carry from the sexual encounter or intercourse, children, because she stores protein to feed the child, and she has to push that out through periods, right? She has to push that out through cleansing of the body. The body will cleanse itself out through periods, right? So when she's eating vegan and eating herbs and things like that, that is further cleansing out the body, the proteins that turn into toxins in the body. It's cleansing the body out. When she's having sexual intercourse with a man who eats meat, or just in general taking in proteins, it has to be cleansed out. She's not going to sweat as much as men do to clean this out. She's not going to be able to push out seminal fluid like a man to push out these proteins and toxins. Okay? Protons are the energy within inside atoms, right? And as protons, are responsible for the movement of atoms, and your protons grow into protein, right? There's a connection. One of your scientists said it by mistake, and they weren't supposed to say it. They were trying to correct them or make the scientist or the reporter that was reporting on what the scientist said make it sound crazy, but It's all forms of energy, from protons, which move inside of atoms, to proteins that move inside the body. You're only going to be able to consume that type of protein from animals. Why are you going to be able to consume it from animals? Because animals are animated figures. They have movement. They have extended movement. Whether they are running, flying, or swimming, right? They have a form of movement. And men need that protein from that animal food source, that animated food source, to be able to move, to be able to have power, to be able to have strength, to have that protein, those protons stored in the body. Right? It's a building block of energy and power in a man. Protons, but way before proteins. You can't get that same effect in vegetables. I don't care who's telling you this. That's false. Because vegetables have limited movement, and they have a quicker shelf life. They're not going to last as long as those animals. Vegetables and fruits are meant to be diuretics. They're meant to clean the body out from the excess protons or the proteins that you consume from the animated flesh of these beings, of these animals. Right? That's what the vegetables really serve as, and the fruits. You're not supposed to eat them to sustain yourself. You're supposed to eat them to clean yourself out. Like I said, this is why it's perfect for women. I said that people should not be consuming, at least our people should not be consuming land animals, because land animals move too slow and they're too big to digest. I suggested our people eat fish and birds, pretty much like we've been eating. We have a history of eating fish and birds. We are not historically vegans. That is connected to the Caucasians and the Greeks and the Romans. We're not historically that. Going back to ancient Egypt and ancient world, we were always fishing in Niles for fish, right, or catching birds to eat. And we did that way before we got here into America, and we did that when we got into America. So for people to say that, the white man came with this idea of pushing meat source as a form of protein is false. We were always eating some kind of fish or birds. We didn't eat the heavy land animals like that. The white man, they ate that. The Caucasians and them ate that. Right? I said men release toxins or toxic fuel energy through sperm. That's supposed to cleanse out the body. It's a form of cleansing the body out. But you can also produce life from that once it's fertilized in a woman's egg. Vegetables have a limited growth, unlike animals. They have limited movement. Like I said, when you pull them out of the ground, when you uproot vegetables, they start dying immediately. Right? They start to die. They die immediately. Whereas people will say about the animal, when you kill it and you consume it, right, that it's already dead. It's dead flesh. However, it still has an energy on it. It still has a spirit on it, or some form of energy on it when you consuming it, because it had a longer lifespan than that vegetable or that plant life. Right? It had a longer lifespan. The way that you eat carbs and energy, you burn it up and you store it. Men store this energy and they burn it up. And when they, performing some kind of work, right? When they're doing some kind of work or lifting weights or working out or working their body, they need that protein for extra power, or that proton blast for extra power. Right? This is why, if you notice, people who eat vegan or vegetarian, they're always trying to come up with supplements or meat supplements. Now, if meat was not needed in the diet, then why are people coming up with meat supplements? Why are people making things like tofu, right? And they're trying to take potatoes and all kinds of other stuff and make it into fake meat. Why are they doing that? Because they know that the body craves meat. They know it. And it's not something that people got us used to here in this society. We've always been like this. I'm talking about black people now, right? This idea of veganism is fairly new in this society. But like I said, it goes back. They traced it back to the Greeks and the Romans, right? They traced it back to them, and they always showed the men following this diet. Now, I said that eating these kinds of foods, vegan foods, vegetarian foods, tends to create a docile nature in men. It tends to create a effeminate nature in men. A lot of people will say, "Oh no, that's not true." I know a lot of strong vegans and guys who are in shape and got muscles who are vegans, right? But you got to ask yourself this: why do they take supplements? Why do they take supplements? Why do they take protein powders and things like that to build their muscles? See, they don't add that part, and they don't tell you about the protein shakes because they're seeking some sort of protein. They're seeking some sort of protein replacement for the animal flesh. They're seeking some sort of thing that's put together that 9 times out of 10 has some sort of animal byproduct in it, in these powders that they're not telling you. Because there's no way you're going to be able to get a pure protein other than from animals, from birds or fish, right? There's no way you're going to be able to get it like that. They'll just call it something totally different, but they're still giving you animal flesh. It's ground down, and they call it all kinds of different other things and whatnot, but do your research on it. Look it up. I was going to come on here and read some of the ingredients and whatnot that they give in a lot of these protein shakes and whatnot, but I didn't have time to catch it yet. I saw it. I came across it, because they hide them under certain names. They're feeding you animal products when you take these protein shakes and things like that. Right? They're feeding it to you because in order to build muscle, in order to have that kind of fuel to build muscle to work out, that animal protein or that proton energy blast has to be in the body. It has to be stored in the atomic makeup because the body is made of atoms. And before you get into the physical matter or mass of things, proton exists. The proton or the energy of that within that atom exists. And when you're building the body, it needs more of a proton or a protein blast continuously to build muscle upon muscle. Right? It needs more of that. And you don't get that from vegetables. You don't get it from there. People will say, you see the guys, the slim guys who worked out and whatnot, and they followed the vegan diet. You got to ask yourself, how long has people been following that diet? Right? There's always some protein somewhere in the equation of that. As I said, fruits and vegetables are meant to be diuretics to cleanse the body out. Now, if you don't have anything in the body to be cleansed out, if you're taking, say, for example, if you're constantly eating vegetables and you're eating fruits and your body is not being cleansed out, eventually those vegetables and that fruit are pushing out real nutrients that you need, stored nutrients. It's the same way as if you constantly drinking water and water and water and you're on a fast, eventually you're going to push out the nutrients in your body that's there. You're going to push out the toxins first, and then that water will continue to push out the vital nutrients that you need. It's the same thing with vegetables. This is why if you notice a lot of vegans start to lose weight because after a while, when they push out the toxins, they start to push the nutrients out. Because somebody said to me, they said, well, Dr. Sebi wouldn't agree with that. I'm going to share something with you, and this is not to disrespect Dr. Sebi because I look at him as a mentor. But let's be for real here. Dr. Sebi did not look well at all. He looked like he was drawn. He looked like he didn't have a lot of energy to him. He looked like he was always cleansing himself. He was always taking too many herbs and things like that. He took all of these herbs and he ate clean. But when you take all of these herbs and you eat clean and you don't have anything to cleanse out, eventually you're cleaning out nutrients from your body. This is why he looked thin and frail. He pushed all the nutrients out of his body, and then he was going on fast and drinking a lot of water. So if you're not putting anything in your body and you're just drinking water, you're pushing all the nutrients out of it. Like I said, the vegan diets are to cleanse the body out. They're not to be stayed on. They're not to be seen as a primary food source. They're not to be seen that way. Or else nobody would have took to protein supplements or tofu. Why does your body crave that? Because your body craves the protein. They said Dr. Sebi didn't understand protein. He said he didn't say nothing about protein and things like that. Dr. Sebi was after alkaline food. He was never a vegan. He was after alkaline food. That's why he tested the milk of a buffalo. Now, why would you test the milk of a buffalo if you didn't intend on drinking it? I'm not saying drink buffalo milk, but he was testing it because it had the highest pH. So he was always after the alkalinity in food, not the vegan content. In fact, he said a lot of the vegetables that people are eating in the vegan diet are hybrids, and there's no nutritional value in the majority of them. From carrots to cauliflower to cabbage, most of the stuff that's in your vegan diet has no nutritional value whatsoever. You understand? They have no nutritional value whatsoever. Right? So that just goes to show you, if you're going to tell people to eat a vegan diet and majority of the vegetables that people are eating have no nutritional value, then what do you get? What are people getting from that? What are people getting from that? How many vegetables are out there for people to sustain themselves on? And then you're talking about men. How are they going to sustain themselves on that? Dr. Sebi talked about eating fish. He talked about having a piece of fish. I heard him say it out of his own mouth. Now, why would he say that? Why would he say that? Because of the omega 3 oils in it, the protein in it, right? Now you can take these foods into your body, like certain foods, but then you have the vegetable or the vegan diet of the vegetable to balance it out by cleansing, and the herbs to cleanse it out. You can't keep cleansing something out if you're eating all of this stuff as a primary diet. And what do you have to cleanse out? What do you have to clean out? If you're eating this stuff constantly, if you don't eat a piece of fish or you don't eat a piece of protein or something like that, if you don't cleanse that out of your body, if you're constantly eating clean and eating herbs and things like that, eventually you're pushing nutrients out of your body. You're eventually pushing that out of your body. They can only name a few vegetables that carry the content of iron, right? Which Dr. Sebi was big on, iron. He talked about the greens. He talked about the greens like the callaloo, the mustard green. He didn't even name spinach. He didn't even name spinach. He talked about callaloo, and he said kale was okay. He talked about mustard greens. He didn't say nothing about no carrots, no cauliflower, none of this stuff, which he said broccoli. He said nothing about none of it. He said those are the worst things you can eat. Now, this man's a nutritionist. So people need to think about that when they say Dr. Sebi was a vegan. He wasn't, because he was against most of the stuff that the vegans eat and consume. You have people talking about eating fruit, being fruitarians, just eating fruit. And they'll say, well, when you eat the vegetables or just eat the fruit, you feel so light, you feel so clear that you feel healthier and whatnot. Of course you do, because you're cleaning all of the toxins out of your body. So of course you're going to feel like that. Of course you're going to feel like you're going to lose weight, right? You're going to feel clear-headed. Because you cleared all of those toxins out of your body, which is what they were meant to do with the herbs. But now, after a while, you're supposed to stop eating the herbs, or you're supposed to add these greens and things like that into your diet gradually along with the protein to have a balanced meal. If you're just eating greens, if you're just eating herbs and vegetables, which like I said, the majority of your vegetables have no nutritional value whatsoever, then you're going to create an imbalance. There's no history of our people. When I had that guy, Minister Inky, on my broadcast, he could not prove at no point in time that our people were vegans. At any time, he talked about in the Bible, right? And these Negroes don't believe in no Bible. They don't believe in that. They talked about fishing in the Bible. They talked about eating fish. They talked about eating birds. Nowhere did they, in history was our people vegans, but that's a European or Caucasian diet. That's a European or Caucasian diet because I put on my wall today where I said, where I showed they showed the history of people, the history of veganism, part one, vegans in antiquity. They showed the Greco-Romans, the Greco-Romans. They didn't have no black people up there because we were never vegans. They're trying to get us to eat like them. And I told people all the time, I said, be careful of this mass media push where they pushing diets and things like that. There's usually a reason behind that. There's usually a reason why behind this mass movement to push veganism or vegetarianism or whatever they're saying, or fruitarianism or whatever. And that really is because they're pushing GMO vegetables and fruits and foods. They're pushing that. They're pushing seedless grapes, seedless oranges, seedless apples. They're pushing a whole lot of seedless GMO vegetables and fruit. A lot of hybrid vegetables that you vegans put in your diet. A lot of hybrid vegetables, celery, all of that's hybrid. There's no nutritional value in that. You understand? No nutritional value in carrots. All the things that you put into your vegan diet, your raw vegan diet, there's no nutritional value. So how are we supposed to eat and live off of that? How are men supposed to maintain that strength and that power and that protein in themselves off of that? Now people say, oh, you can eat the grains, which is the beans, or you can eat beans and the grains, and like the beans. Because I was doing this stew a couple of days ago where I had navy beans and callaloo and a soup, which was good, full of selenium and things like that, which is excellent. Right? And then another night I had me a piece of salmon and some kale salad. Now I don't eat beef, I don't eat pork, I don't eat lamb. I don't eat the land animals because they're not supposed to be digested. They're too heavy. So when you talk about people getting cancer and sick from things like that, they get sick and they get cancer from heavy land animals that they can't digest, hybrid animals like cows. You're not supposed to eat a cow. You're not supposed to drink a cow's milk. Right? You're not supposed to eat lambs. And you damn sure not supposed to eat no tofu, which is what Dr. Sebi said. He had to put the herb thing into effect and push it real hard to get the tumors out of women because a lot of these vegan women were eating tofu, and they were getting tumors in their bodies, in their breast, the mammary glands in their breast, and their uterus. They were getting tumors from soy, which is a hybrid, bean, right? They make plastic out of that, and this hardens in your system, right? And it forms tumors. So again, we have to be careful about this vegetarian vegan thing and stop following these Caucasians when they're telling us how to eat. We already knew. People say, they was pushing meat as the product of protein and things like that. But these are the same people that's pushing veganism. It's the same people. They own the food plants and the companies and things like this. So it's the same people. When you see a massive push for veganism like you're seeing, then it's the same people that was pushing the cows. Because when they were selling beef, supposed to be selling beef to a lot of these food chains, these fast food restaurants, they were already switching it out with soy. They were switching out the cow, because the cow protein with soy. Now the cow protein is bad enough, but they figured a way to fool people and give them soy, right, as a replacement. Or they were giving you horse meat, right? All things that you cannot digest. All things that you cannot break down, right? These are all things you can't break down. It's like a lot of vegetables you can't break down, like corn. It's a lot of vegetables, because of their hybrid, being that they're hybrid, you can't even break down, but that's part of your vegan diet. So again, I ask you, how is it that we're going to really find any nutrients in vegetables like this? The biggest place you find nutrients in vegetables is in greens. And rarely do you hear your vegans talking about greens. I noticed that. They talk about all the hybrid vegetables. They're talking about carrots, celery, broccoli. They're talking about the hybrid things. They're not talking about any mustard greens, any callaloo. Right? They're not talking about that. I forget what the other one was. There's quite a few greens, but that's where the heavy iron is in the green. That's where the heavy iron is. That's the nutrients. So if you're constantly eating these vegetables and you're not receiving any nutrients from it, and then let's say you're taking herbs, then what happens? Your body starts to be deficient of nutrients. If you vegans make up anything, or you so-called vegetarians make up anything in nutrients, or you get it from 9 times out of 10, you're getting it from some sort of grain, or you're getting it from some sort of beans, or some lentils, or things like that. You're not getting it from the vegetables. You're not getting it from the vegetables. You understand? You're not picking up nothing from those vegetables that you have in your vegan diet. Because vegetables don't really carry nutrients like that. Like I said, it's meant to be a diuretic. It's meant to be a laxative more than anything. It's meant to be fiber, just like fruit is meant to be fiber, to push things out. But if you don't have anything to push out, you're going to push out the nutrients by eating it constantly as a form of a diet. You're going to push out all of that. Like I said, you're going to lose weight. You're going to lose weight. So I do recommend it as far as cleaning yourself out. But as far as using it to maintain your body, no. Not over the long run, no. And a lot of people are going to see that over a long term, because with these GMO vegetables that they're giving you, these genetically modified vegetables with no seeds in them, that were grown in laboratories, that have no nutritional value in the first place, they're hybrids, because a lot of those vegetables you vegans are eating are really for the animals to eat. A lot of you are eating animal food. A lot of you are eating food that was meant for rabbits and rodents and things to eat. You eating carrots, that's not meant for you. Cabbage, things like that, that's not meant for y'all to eat. But you're taking it and eating it anyway. Just like when I tell the people who are eating these heavy land animals like the beef and all that, that's not meant for you to eat. That's meant for like jackals and dogs and all that, who have a fast metabolism, who can tear up high protein and push it out. They have a longer, or should I say, a shorter intestinal tract. They have a shorter intestinal tract than we do. We have a long intestinal tract. So that stuff tends to get trapped in our intestinal tract. That's why we're not supposed to eat beef and things like that. The animals, the dogs and all these other jackals, whatever, lions, they have short digestive tracts. And they can push that animal protein through their system quicker. They can push it through quicker than we can. It'll sit in our bodies because it's too big to digest. No, the birds and the fish, which takes more of a mental skill to catch, because you have to be able to fish and catch in water. You have to go in there and fish and catch those certain fish to eat. You have to be able to catch birds, or have you bag them or whatnot and eat them. So it takes more of a mental skill to do that. With these animals, they were meant to be chased down and devoured by other vicious animals as a form of protein. All right? Animals are animated life forms to be consumed. Like I said, our food source is the birds and the fish, because the fish swim through water and the birds fly through air. So these are all higher physical capabilities that we're supposed to be taking in and digesting within us. We're not supposed to be eating pigs and cows and whatnot, because if you notice, when you see the people who eat those type of animals, they get overweight and they move slow. They move slow. They start to mimic the movement of the animal, animal that they consumed. We're not supposed to take those in. We're not supposed to sit and have herbs, which are meant to be for healing the body. We're not supposed to be taking herbs to heal the body when there's no sickness there. Herbs is supposed to be for healing the body. Fasting is supposed to be for cleansing the body. How are you going to have fasting and herbs when you are eating clean all the time? Because it's going to be a time, let's say, for example, and this is the reason why people started eating animals in the first place, along with vegetables, along with greens and things like that, because it would take time to plant greens and things like that. If they weren't readily coming up out of the ground, it would take time to plant these things. And so you would end up starving if you were waiting for greens to come out of the ground. So what did you have to do as a food source? You had to hunt animals. You had to go fishing. You had to go kill a bird to eat, because without that you wouldn't have anything to eat. These greens might take a while to come up, but you got all these food sources in birds and in fish moving about. You're not going to eat that. You're going to wait for some greens to pop up out of the ground. That's not how our people. That's not even practical. That's not practical. So we were meant to take these in because, like I said, it takes time for those planted vegetables to grow. And like I said, we're only really supposed to be eating greens, not the other stuff. But like I said, when you follow the promotion of veganism, right, like they're pushing in this society, you don't think about things like this. You don't think about things like this. You just go with the flow, right? You go with the flow. And you're not thinking about long-term the health of it. You're not thinking about the long-term health of it. You're not thinking about how you're supposed to maintain your body or how you're supposed to maintain your energy or power. I'm going to tell you something. In slavery, they tried to feed us a somewhat vegetarian diet in slavery. They didn't want to really give us, as the white man figured out that to give us chicken and give us like birds and fish and things like that would give us a diet of meat protein would make us aggressive. So what they was really trying to do, they would give us, that's where the whole thing of collard greens came from. They give us fat off of the pig, which really is no protein in that. They would give us fat off of the pig, collard greens, and stuff you all ended up calling beans, like black-eyed peas, which ended up becoming your soul food. They was trying to give us a semi-vegetarian diet then because it was just enough to get us to work, but to keep us weak, right? Because they realized when people were consuming protein, they became stronger. They became stronger. They built more muscle when they did that. When they were consuming protein, they carried more energy, but they were not readily making the link between protons and protein. Dr. Sebi didn't even make that link. That's why I said you're not going to hear about that nowhere else other than tonight. Think about the source. Like I said, when you read what protons are, and then you read what proteins are, you'll see that it's linked to the same source of power, which is in that person's body, which is made up of atoms, and it is responsible for the movement of the atoms, and it is responsible for the movement of the atoms. The protons within the atomic makeup are responsible for the movement of the atom because it is pure energy. Protons are energy. And what is in animals or animated life forms or beings but energy? It's all, they made up of protons. So you're really, when you're eating these birds and fish, you're consuming protons. The proteins are protons. And that is what your body, which is made up of atoms, needs to have stored in it constantly. This is how you build muscle. This is how you have your energy, your strength. This is how you are able to produce children and build your testosterone. Now, women, like I said, they're supposed to be cleansing that out. There's nothing wrong with a woman eating fish and birds, but she should be more into the greens and more into the herbs and cleaning herself out, because like I said before, she has more glands than men. She has to work, her body has to work harder to push out toxins. So she needs to eat more of a vegan or a vegetarian diet. She needs more herbs in her diet to push this out, or else there's tumors in her body, or else there's cancer, the signs of cancer in her body. Sweating is a form of cleansing out the body, and nobody sweats like a man. So he drinks water when he works out, when he does all of these things. Like I said, he's pouring in sweat more than a woman is. He has more. He has less sweat glands, but he sweats more. She has more glands, but he sweats more. That's the protein intake. That's the natural testosterone that makes him sweat more, that makes him burn fat more, that makes him form stronger and leaner and thicker muscle tissue, because you're consuming this protein. It's an explosion within the body, within the atomic makeup. Like I said, look at Dr. Sebi and you tell me, did he look like he was really all that healthy? Or did he look like a man that was constantly in a state of cleansing himself? And I said this about a lot of these so-called vegans. Why is it that your vegans are always, a lot of your vegans now, a lot of people calling themselves vegans, they either smoke cigarettes, they smoke marijuana. Dr. Sebi smoked marijuana. They drank liquor, or they tattooed themselves. Do you know why they do that? Why they at least into one or two of those things? They do that because they're looking for some form of toxic explosion to take place in their body, because they're looking to replace that which they're no longer getting through meat. So they need that toxic explosion in their body through ink, through carbon monoxide, which comes out of the cigarette, through carbon monoxide, which comes out of the weed smoke, because whenever you smoke something and burn it and you inhaling, that's carbon monoxide fume. That's why I said don't smoke anything. Your body is not meant to inhale smoke. Okay? But they're looking for a replacement, or they drink alcohol. They're looking for an intoxicant, something toxic in their body, because they're constantly cleansing their body. So their body is looking, because the vegan or the vegetarian stuff they're eating and the herbs or whatever they're taking is constantly looking for something to fight. Now, if your body has nothing to fight or nothing to attack, cleanse out, then it'll start eating away your nutritional or the nutrients in your body. It'll start eating away the nutrients in your body because it's looking to attack something, to fight something. And usually that was supposed to be the protein. That was supposed to be the excess protein. Because like I said, even Dr. Sebi smoked weed. He got high. And that was perplexing, because how can you advocate on one hand, and like I said, this is not a shot at Dr. Sebi. We love Dr. Sebi over here. He definitely was a healer and things like that, but he didn't understand anything about protein and the proton and the connection between the two. He understood a lot about cleansing the body and the alkalinity and whatnot, which is very important. But like in anything, it's bits and pieces and puzzles, pieces of the puzzle that are missing. I told people before, he was not a vegan, because he would never talk about eating fish. Now, people would say fish is not really meat. It is meat. Fish is meat. They'll say fish and fowl are not meat. It's a form of meat. It's a lighter form of meat. And I said that they are hybrid reptilians. They're hybrid reptilians. They're not really animals. They're hybrid reptilians. And they can be traced back to reptiles. Because at the core of our brain, we have a reptilian core to our brain, right? I forget what it's called. I'll come back to it, and I'll describe. Talked about it in another broadcast, but it's slipping my mind now. But we have a core in our brain which is reptilian, so we call out instinctively in that core of our brain for that animal or that reptilian protein. Like you could tell black people, if you notice, black people will probably 9 times out of 10 have no problem with divorcing themselves from pork and beef, but they always want to have either a piece of chicken or a piece of fish. That's more of a craving that they have, you know. They'll always want to have that in some way, shape, or form, because they recognize, their body recognizes the protein in it, and also the omega, the omega-3 and the fatty acids that's needed, and the amino acid buildup, and the selenium and all this stuff in the beans and things that they eat, because you need the elasticity in your skin and your joints. You need the bones of that fish. You need to consume that. And people are getting robbed of that through this veganism thing. People are getting robbed from this veganism thing. There's protein there that constantly has to be taken in, right? There's protein there that has to be taken in. There's protein that has to be drawn out for the explosion genetic material to take place continuously, and they're trying to rob you of that. Like I said before, I said that this whole thing of, and I said this on my page, this whole vegan thing is nothing but another form of, what they refer to it as environmental engineering. That's all it is. It's nothing but an environmental experiment. They testing things out here in society. It's another form of social engineering, meaning that they're trying out different things because they're really trying to reenact the ancient Greco-Roman philosophy and mentality here. They're really trying to reenact that, where there is sexual ambiguity. I'm trying to pronounce this, where the line is blurred between sexuality, like it was in Greece and Rome, more philosophical talk, veganism. You start erasing the lines when you're doing that. So all they're doing right now, the white man is doing through this form of social engineering experiment, all he's doing is trying to change the natural order of things, especially in our people, by pushing vegetarianism, because that's not even natural. Vegetarianism is not even natural. Not for us, anyway. We're going to go fishing. We always did that. Wherever we was at, whether we was in America, whether we was in Egypt, whether we was in Africa, wherever we was at, we went fishing somewhere in a damn pond somewhere. We caught fish, and we had fish fries. We was eating fish, and we was eating grains. That is documented. Nowhere is it documented that we ever had this vegan nonsense. We was following this vegan diet. That's something that the white man does, and he wants you to be like him. He wants the men to be effeminate, right? He wants the men to be philosophical instead of driven and focused on a point, to have no real drive for anything, no real masculinity in them. Because you can have a lot of these guys here, and they'll be all cut up, and they'll be in shape, and they're talking about how vegan they are. But a lot of these guys, you could tell they have an effeminate nature. I'm not saying they're homosexuals, but they have an effeminate nature, and usually 9 times out of 10, they're open to some form of homosexuality. A lot of these vegan people. They're very philosophical. They don't really have a point on what they're saying. They're not really passionate about nothing. And if they are passionate, it's about something that's kind of, simple-minded. And this is what I see with a lot of these vegan people. And I'm not being, prejudicial because, like I said, you don't have to listen to me. You can go and keep following the vegan diet. I don't have anything against the vegans and whatnot. I don't have anything against them, but I'm speaking on what I see and what I know to be unnatural. That it was never a time where we just sat around and ate vegetables. That's it. There was never a time like that. Because most of the stuff that you're saying are vegetables are not even native to the places we were at, whether it be in Egypt and Africa. Most of that stuff is not even native to those places. That's in the vegan diet. That vegan diet was created here. A lot of that, the hybrid vegetables was created here in America. Now, if you're saying all we ate is greens, that's a load of nonsense. So if people are trying to push veganism on our people, which this veganism thing has been in effect exactly about 10 years now, we'll see what the next generation who are born out of that vegan diet, what they look like, what they sound like, what are they going to be, how are they going to be, how are they going to be in the world, how is that bloodline, that seed that's created from veganism going to look? That remains to be seen. But I got a feeling what it's going to look like. It's going to be a bunch of sexually ambiguous, confused people who don't really stand for nothing. Flaky people, philosophical people, people who go along, don't really have anything, to fight about concerning the system. They just just going to go with the flow. Basically, happy slaves. Happy slaves, like what they tried to make in when our people were in slavery. They deprived them of the meat in slavery. They deprived them. So a lot of our people were stealing chicken back then. They would steal chickens because they were craving that meat. The white man was giving them beans and cornbread and all that stuff. They wanted meat. Why did they want meat? They would give them black-eyed peas and cornbread and collard greens, cabbage, you know. But they would have to, and they would only get a piece of meat, you know, on maybe a special day. It would not have to be rotten. But they would steal chickens because the men were craving that meat. Or they would try and go fishing in the ponds because that is part of their natural diet. That is part of their natural diet. But you listen to the white man because he's the one that's pushing this whole vegan thing along with the PETA people, telling us that we should be vegan and whatnot. They got black people getting into this vegan thing. That vegan practice is more for white people. Why do I say it's more for white people? Because white people are created people. Humans are created people. They're not natural people. They are artificial people. So, of course, GMO food or artificial food would be for them to consume. They can eat the carrots. They can eat the cabbage. They can eat the cauliflower. They can eat the broccoli. That's not for us to eat. That's artificial food that was meant for artificial people to eat. Genetically modified food for genetically modified people. That's what that was made for. That's not for us to eat. Our staple foods are fish, birds, greens, certain grains. That's our staple foods. That's our staple foods. Very simple. But when you let people take you off of your natural diet, when you let people say, "Oh, you know, the meat is poison," or this, so is the vegetables. So is the vegetables. Like the vegetables are not GMO, genetically modified. Like them smoothies you getting in them goddamn green drinks are not genetically modified vegetables, which is why the white man is pushing all of these smoothie places all of a sudden. You didn't see that before because he's really experimenting and testing out a whole lot of genetically modified fruits and vegetables through a lot of these fruit companies, like Chiquita and Dole. They got an influx of a lot of genetically modified vegetables and fruits, and they trying to get them pushed out. So now they had to push juice bars, and they had to push veganism because they trying to do an experiment here. Same way when they was pushing beef in the 50s and the 60s and hamburgers and stuff like that. They had the cow, which is a genetically modified animal, a hybrid animal, which is supposed to come from the bison, the buffalo, which is the real natural animal. Right? They was pushing the cow. And through that cow and all of the fact that you could not digest the beef, the fact that they were putting hormones and certain chemicals in the beef, and then add on top of the fact that you couldn't break it down because the meat was so big, the meat was so bulky. This is where your cancer came from. It's stored in the body as toxin, and nobody knew about herbs to clean the body out. Nobody knew about it. It started storing its toxin. That's why you wasn't supposed to eat heavy meat like that. You can digest and break down birds and fish because it's small. It'll go through your system. It will not store in your system. But heavy land animals like beef and pork and lamb and all that will store in your system. It's not going to readily break down. Before we start trying to say, be so-called dietitians and repeating what the white man said, we need to really understand what he's doing and what he's trying to advocate for our people. Is that really our diet? Are we supposed to eat like Caucasians? No. We're not supposed to eat like Caucasians. We're not supposed to eat like them. We're not supposed to eat our food raw. We're not supposed to eat no damn sushi. Right? We're not supposed to eat no raw vegetables. A lot of you got you guys eating raw vegetables now. That's your diet. raw vegetables, and you pouring damn soy sauce on it, which comes from the soybean. You pouring soy sauce on raw vegetables. And soy, like I said, soybean is one of the biggest sources, biggest causes of cancer. That's why if you notice, and a lot of and that the white man is still selling soy milk. That's why if you notice in a lot of the milk, he's saying like the almond milk and stuff like that. He'll say no soy, absolutely no soy, absolutely no. I forget. He'll make sure that because he knows soy is one of the biggest causes of cancer. Yet you so-called vegans was pushing soy through tofu. That guy Dick Gregory, he was pushing that damn Bohemian diet. He was pushing that Bohemian diet, the shake, the protein shake that was full of soy. Could that be the reason why he had cancer? But yet he talked about Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi exposed that. That's why he was hating on Dr. Sebi. He said don't eat no soy. A lot of the things that you guys eat in this vegan diet it's not going to help you. It's not going to help you. Just admit that you're seeking protein in the grains. You're seeking some form of iron and nutrients in the grains. You're trying to replace the meat, but you'll never be able to do that. You'll never be able to replace those omega fatty acids that you need. You're not going to be able to do that through beans and lentils. You're not going to be able to do that through carrots. Then you ain't going to be able to do nothing through carrots and broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage. You're not going to be able to do anything through that. But like I said, when people got their mind made up, there's not much you can do about that. People are following a plan with this. People are following a plan with this because, like I said, it has a bigger picture to it than what they're sharing. They're not just interested in people eating vegetables. There's more to it than that. It's more to it than that. That was Prince, Purple Music. I wanted a little fast kick up before we started back. The neocortex, or the limbic system, which is the core of the brain, is reptilian. We have a reptilian core to our brain, which gives us the desire for protein, which gives us the desire to consume meat. That's what gives us the desire, because that's the reptilian genetic in us. Right? This is why Dr. Sebi was like, he wanted some fish. He said, I'm going to be good, I'm going to have me a piece of fish. And at one point in time, he was talking about salmon and yellowfin tuna. Now, why was he talking about that? Because he obviously at some point knew that these things, these fish, these reptilians, possess things that we needed in the body. They possess things we needed in the body of the makeup of these fish, possessed all the things that we needed. Why are they here in the first place? They're to be consumed by us. They were given to us as a food source. Somebody said, when you pull the vegetables out of the ground, they're already dying. They're already dead. Once you pull them out of the root, somebody's going to say, oh, that's not true. They could live for days. What are you talking about? The only vegetables that could live for a long period of time are the greens, because they're rich in iron. They're actually real vegetables. They're real greens. You can actually get something from the greens. But the carrots and all that other stuff is hybrid, so it's already dead when you pull it from the root. Cephas Parker. It's already dead when you pull it from the root, because it's hybrid. Anything that, like I said, once you take the root, take it out of the root, take it from the ground, it's gone. But y'all making salads out of that, and you thinking eating carrots and broccoli and cauliflower and vegetables is going to help you, or that it's living. It's already dead. So you're consuming dead vegetables, or hybrid dead vegetables at that. Let me go ahead and take a call. 718, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up? What's up, man? Minzak.
Minzak, brother.
Man, Minjaz. How you doing, man? Now about the protein. Now, as far as I know right now, that I see there's two major sources of plant protein, which is alkaline. The ones that I know of right now is hemp and the grain quinoa. You have now bodybuilders is recommended that people actually take this now. And I'm talking about meat eaters and vegan bodybuilders, because the hemp protein certain hemp. Well, you got to find the right one. Certain when they mix with stuff, but they have hemp protein that's just pure hemp. Which is related to the marijuana plant, and you can make like protein shakes with that, basically. So, would that be a good source of protein? Would you say?
Yeah, it would be a good source, but it's not going to be. It's not going to give you like the omega-3 oils and things you need. Like I said, it's good because a lot of these guys they'll recommend things like that for bodybuilding, but it's still lacking in certain things. Right. Remember, cause, like I said, remember Dr. Sebi talked about eating fish.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yellowfin tuna and the salmon and whatnot, because he found there was some things in there. But like I said, if people are going to think that you can get just the protein from the grains and whatnot, no, that helps in it. But like I said, that's really not part of veganism. That's not veganism. Because veganism, right. If you're talking about vegetarianism, you know what I'm saying, then they include the grains. Your so-called veganism, they eat that raw vegetables, and that's when they pour soy sauce on damn cauliflower and stuff like that. And they're more into just straight-up vegetables or the fruitarian. So all these diets are incomplete, or like I said, they're just consuming a bunch of hybrid vegetables.
Right, because specifically the reason I named hemp and quinoa, because those are actually two alkaline grains. I mean, the hemp seeds is alkaline, and so is the hemp. Mm-hmm. And we talk about protein. Now, it must be different classifications. If they I don't know, lately they've been considering those are plant-based protein. I guess it's a different source from the meat protein, basically.
Yeah, you got plant-based protein, but that's the greens. That's the iron. That's the plant. That's a form of plant-based protein, but who's going to just keep eating greens?
Right, okay.
Who's going to just keep eating greens and grains? You can only do but so much with that. You can only, like I said, it's still something missing from there. You're not going to get the omega or those oils that you need in your body. You're not going to get it from there. I don't care how many lentils these people put together. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It needs to be a balance. I'm not saying don't eat them. I say eat the grains, of course, like the quinoa and all that. Eat the things that Dr. Sebi suggested, but also balance it out with the salmons and the certain fish like the salmons and the yellowfin tuna and things like that. Eat that as well. Consume that as well.
Oh, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. That's
maybe
a balanced diet.
Like, maybe like quail or something, or
eat a bird, eat some birds or something like that. Because obviously, like I said, it'll come a time, and that's like in anything when you're dealing with survival, because you're always going to be in a survival mode. Let's just say you moving about and you in the, and you have to hunt or fish or do something like that to feed yourself or feed your family. You're gonna say, "Oh, I'm just gonna eat greens and things like that," because then that means you got to go. You have to stop and plant. Either you're gonna have to stop and try to plant something, which means you're gonna have to get some seeds from somebody. You understand? 9 times out of 10, the people you running from, you got to get some seeds from them. Or you're going to have to go to some store which might not be available to get some damn greens or some canned greens. So what would be more of a reliable source? You're going to have to go out and might have to go fishing.
Exactly. Oh, and speaking of that, I'm glad you brought that up because I was listening to you when you said you got to wait for the stuff to grow. Now, this is one thing Dr. Sebi also said. He's talking about the hybrid vegetables. The hybrid vegetables, they could grow it faster. But the alkaline grain only grows, it don't grow as much a year. So basically, it's only a certain amount of time. Like callaloo, it only grows out the ground, but so much. You know what I mean? Because callaloo is actually the wild spinach. Because the wild stuff just grows. You don't even have to plant it. A lot of these seeds that people's getting to plant, a lot of those are genetically modified seeds. So just because it's a seed doesn't even mean that that's natural either. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Right.
So a lot of these vegans, they pushing it. Like I said, look what they pushing. These guys is pushing hybrid vegetables, man. They pushing carrots, cauliflower, broccoli. You know what I'm saying? Cabbage. All that stuff is all hybrid, man. There's no nutrients in that.
Exactly.
And a lot of people got pissed off when Sebi brought that out, because a lot of these so-called conscious vegetarian vegan people that was pushing it, they was pushing carrots, they was pushing celery, they was pushing broccoli, they was pushing spinach, they was pushing all the things Sebi spoke against. And the fact that this man was healing people and actually doing what they wasn't, he made a lot of people mad. So he forced a lot of people to have to rewrite their stuff and redo their stuff, and he embarrassed a lot of people. So, now that he's gone, you're going to have a lot of these people going to try to start gradually pushing this hybrid vegetable out, because that's all they doing in veganism anyway. They pushing all the veganism people. They not talking about no greens like no collard, all the stuff they grow wild. They talking about getting some goddamn Monsanto seeds and planting some hybrid vegetables, or eating some damn soy, eating some soy.
Right. And another thing Sabi did, he broke down about rice, man. A lot of people still don't understand how serious rice is, man. Rice has cyanide in it, and it has arsenic in it. So basically, you know, that's another thing when people get clogged up. It's not just certain meats. The rice is one of the things that he said he had to work hard to clean out the body, too.
Yeah.
And it has a lot of sugar in it, too, rice.
Oh, yeah, that's why you said, like he brought it out that time when you see these Chinese, they eat that rice, they all bent over and whatnot, and they got bad, their spines is all bent over and whatnot, because they got bad posture because they've been eating that rice, and it has attacked their spinal column, to whereas, you know, it produced that hunched over look to them. You see a lot of these Chinese people walk hunched over. They don't walk straight up because they eating that rice, that white rice. You know, and
that's why quinoa would be a good replacement for. Quinoa is a good replacement for rice, though. You know what I mean? That's you know.
Yeah. You're gonna see over time a lot of these Negroes is eating this damn vegan diet. They're gonna start having health problems, man. Like Derek, like when Derek was in here. Remember Derek had that health problem and whatnot. He got to get treated for. He was eating that vegan diet for 7 to 10 years or whatever, and that Negro all messed up off of that vegan diet. Now he had to start back eating meat because he was lacking that protein. So it makes sense that, you know, being that he don't have no testicular fortitude, that makes sense now. It explains a lot, you know.
Oh, okay. Right. It seems like, but it seemed like a lot of people get into the diet because I think a lot of them were sick for some reason and they needed to do something to try to, I guess, clear up their body or whatever. I really feel that's one of the reasons why a lot of people get into it.
Yeah.
You know.
But the thing is, you know, the thing is, you can't eat a diet constantly. It's one thing to clear your body, but you can't just keep eating a diet that is based in cleansing your body out. Because if you keep eating a diet that's based on cleansing out your body, and you know you're not taking none of that, you know, the things like the meat protein, like the fish or things like that, and putting it in, like I said, you're not going to get a full balance nutrition from that food. You're not going to get it, because if your body don't have nothing to clean out, then why you keep consuming things to cleanse out your body if your body don't have anything to clean out?
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Like Sabi said, he was right about that. If you're gonna eat rice, eat wild rice. Eat the wild rice. You know.
Yeah, the wild rice.
Don't eat no brown rice. Don't eat no brown rice. Don't eat no black rice. I mean, brown rice is better than white rice, but you ain't supposed to really be eating none of that. No brown rice, no white rice, no black rice. You're supposed to eat wild rice. You know.
Yeah, black rice is, a lot of people got confused. Some people still think that black rice is good, man. Because like I said, when I cooked it, it turned the water black, and I knew something was wrong.
Yeah, it died. It's got dye on it.
Yeah. Right.
It died. I mean,
This it tastes just like white rice, but it was just black. You know what I mean? That to me, it was like.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so.
And some people still some people still eating that soy, man. That's killing a lot of people, man. That soy. Like I remember my aunt said that the tumors, it was hard to remove the soy from the tumors people had ate pork and it was easy to remove those tumors than the soy, basically. So that shows you how bad soy is. You know, the tofu and all that stuff.
Yeah, they said the hardest thing to remove was the people who was eating that lamb, tumors from the people that was eating the lamb, and the people that was eating that soy.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So, you know, it is what it is. You know.
Yep.
But you got any more help? You got any more help things to share with us, brother?
Well, like I was saying, like another thing, like the vegans, a lot of them don't push, even some of the alkaline grains that Dr. Sabi pushed out, a lot of vegans don't really push that either. Like we talked about, they starting to push the quinoa more now, but they wasn't a couple years ago, because Dr. Sabi to me was really the first one that brought it out. They starting to push
these guys are pushing that bleached quinoa, because now the white man put out some damn bleached quinoa. You know how he do.
A lot of it's white. Once you see
now
commercially, it's white. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I try to get the red one or the brown one. But you don't see that as much in stores. But it's good when you see less of something. That means that's the best one. Whenever you see it in abundance, that means they must be doing something to it.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, you see all of these. You see in these supermarkets now, they got a vegan section. They pushing all these greens and all this tofu and all this fake meat and all this for the vegans. Like I said, that's a sign. Like I said, that these same people, like I said, they pushing the genetically modified vegetables and fruits, man. They pushing it.
You notice something I looked up, the green kamut, man. Now this almost look like rice too. And the vegan, I don't hear vegans talk nothing about kamut. And I checked out kamut. This got one of the highest sources of carbohydrates, and it's an alkaline grain. But I never hear vegans talk about that.
Yeah, I eat that in my cereal. I eat the kamut in my cereal. They got a kamut cereal, hot cereal that I eat and whatnot. It's just straight up kamut and quinoa mixed together. That's what I eat. I don't eat no oatmeal and none of that stuff. I eat this kamut. A cereal, you know what I'm saying? So it's good.
Right.
And the
they don't push that though. The vegans, I never hear them talk about kamut. I never hear them talk about teff. It's quite a few alkaline grains that they don't really push. They don't even talk about.
What about the fonio? They pushed it. They don't even talk about the fonio. I had the fonio, which is an African grain. Say he spoke highly of that African grain, the fonio, and whatnot.
Oh yeah, they don't talk about that either. That's a very good grain.
They could be making cereal out of that. They could be eating that. So that it's a lot of things in the grains that they overlook. Because they with this vegan, vegetarian, vegetable crap. And like I said, most of that stuff is hybrid anyway. The stuff that the white man is pushing to make nothing but a bunch of hybrid vegetables. You know what I'm saying? Carrots and broccoli.
Yeah, that fonio is good too.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to find that in stores. Like you got to go to certain markets to find that though, like African markets and stuff. But
yeah,
the fonio.
Yeah, I know. I know. I had it. I had it a few times, quite a few times, at when I went to some halal places and whatnot.
Yeah, they sell in a couple of ones in our area in Brooklyn. The halal spot.
Yeah. See, it's not. See, the problem people have with the meat is. Yeah, if you don't get it from good places like the fish and things like that, you can get them from some good places and whatnot. You're not supposed to eat it all the time, you know what I'm saying? But to have it twice a week, some piece of fish or a piece of chicken breast, there's nothing wrong with that, man. Like I say, if you get it from good places, because this is what we was eating. This is our diet. This is what the diet was our diet before the white man was pushing meat. So I don't know where people get this from. The white man pushing animal protein. We was always eating animal protein. We was always eating some form of chicken or some form of fish. That goes with our reptilian makeup and our genetic. That's how it is.
That's a good point, because if you look at
even the so-called vegans, when they smell like some of them before they go, they smell that chicken going. They smell that fish fry going. A lot of them still get entranced with that because it's already in the core of your brain that that reptilian brain of yours that's what you want. And like I brought out earlier, these guys, like I said, all these guys I'm seeing doing the vegan thing, these guys is like smoking weed and drinking liquor and tattooing themselves up. So it doesn't make no sense to me that these guys is even talking about veganism. That don't even make no sense to me.
A lot of them are,
They smoke cigarettes, weed, tattoo themselves up. They drink liquor because they trying to find a replacement. You know what I mean? They want that that toxin in their body. That toxin has to be there because obviously that toxin in the body from the meat that it produces over time. You take something from that and you need that cleansed out, of course. The after effects of it or the waste of it needs to be cleansed out. But you take something from those bacteria and whatnot. But you ain't going to get nothing from no damn alcohol or no weed or no damn smoking no weed or cigarette. But that's really why they crave it. They don't even know why they crave it to do those things.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to let you get back to the broadcast, Ben. Minjaz.
All right. Thanks for calling in, Brother Minjaz.
No problem.
All right. Brother Lanier Minjaz. That's my right-hand man right there. We're going to take a little bit of a break. We'll be right back. And we are back. Like I said, this is nothing but another form of socially engineered diet and environment they're trying to push, just like homosexuality, lesbianism, now that's sexually ambiguous stuff, and they're trying to really model things after Greece and Rome and things like that with this diet. Like I said, they're trying to produce something here long term, and the best way to produce something long term in the people is by altering their diet, altering their food. They was wrong to push, beef and and steak and all this other stuff to our people, just like they was wrong to push veganism to our people. So it's always something we have to figure. We have to figure out where we fit in. And like I told you, where we fit in at, like I said, our diet is grains, like the brother was mentioning, the quinoa, the amaranth. We have a lot of good grains out there. The spelt, like Sister brought out spelt, the amaranth, the grain. That if we're gonna have bread, we need to make our breads out of that. A lot of you sisters need to get into baking again, baking bread for real. A lot of you brothers need to get into fishing again and hunting and doing things like that for birds and things like that. A lot of you need to get into growing greens. You sisters need to get into growing greens and planting greens and, onions and lentils and things like that and beans. Y'all need to get into that. We know what our diet is. No, we're not supposed to be eating no cows. No, we're not supposed to be drinking no cow milk. Cow milk is for calves. We're not supposed to drink no cow milk. You understand? We need to making milk, our own milk, out of nuts, like Brazilian nut milk, which is what we're going to be making soon. Brazilian nut milk. Things like that. We need to make our milk out of nuts and like an alkaline type of water. We need to make sure that we carry that mentality going forward in our diet, because our diet, like I said, our diet can be very nutritious for us if we know what to put in our body and we stop allowing other people to put things in our body, right? Stop allowing other people to tell us what we should be eating, because the white man is in no position to tell us what we should be eating. He's in no position. He didn't tell us. Like I said, we was already eating fish already. We was already eating birds already. He got fishing and hunting for birds from us. He learned that from us. You understand? He learned how to hunt, fish and hunt from us for birds, because prior to that time, he was the one, like with the rest of the animals, tackling cows and tackling pigs, wild pigs and cows and boars and whatnot. They eat that. We didn't eat that. That was for the animals. Those were the wild boars and things like that. Those were for the jackals and the dogs and all the wolves and coyotes, and for them to eat that. Lions, for them to eat those animals. We didn't eat that stuff. But then as we got around him, we started eating like him. We started eating like him. We were satisfied with the birds, with the chicken. We were satisfied with the fish and the birds and whatnot, but we let that go. We were satisfied with the greens. Now we don't know what we're supposed to be eating. We got these people telling us we're supposed to be eating a bunch of hybrid vegetables, a bunch of carrots and celery and broccoli and all this junk. Or telling us like this idiot Minister Inky was on here, Sinister Ink Spot was on here talking about eating some damn fruit. That's how that Negro sold out. He was probably pushing some genetically modified fruit for black people to eat. He was a clown telling somebody to be a fruitarian. Just eat fruit. That is ridiculous. Because after a while, you eat too much fruit, it's going to produce a sugar in your body, and it's going to turn into a carb. You understand? You're not supposed to be eating that. Just eating no damn fruit. Especially a lot of this GMO fruit. We need to learn how to do things. Like I said, you sisters, y'all can make cheese out of out of avocados. You should be making avocado cheese. There's a way to make cheese out of avocado without having to use any dairy or any of the enzymes that they use to make cheese. There's a lot of things y'all could be making and whatnot, but y'all got to get back in the kitchen again and learn how to do these things. Stop allowing people to tell you, oh, we supposed to be eating this, we supposed to be eating that. Like I said, we're not supposed to be eating none of the diet that these people are telling us to eat. We supposed to be designing our diet because, like I said, whenever they pushing something in a mass thing like this, when they pushing veganism and all this in a mass grouping like that, where everybody's a vegan now, all of a sudden nobody want to eat this no more. There's a reason behind that. I got my ideas on what it is, but I'm not going to share that because it's a little bit over the top. I'm gonna do it later. What I think it is, because if it is what I think it is, which I kind of think it sounds along the lines of that, y'all in some trouble. Y'all in some trouble. If it's what I think it is, because like I said, all of this has a reason. They don't do none of this stuff for nothing. They don't give a damn about nobody's diet. It's the same reason why they got people, liking a lot of football all of a sudden. Why they got you wearing army fatigues. Why they got you running so much. Not that there's nothing wrong with running and working out. That's the beautiful thing. But when you start seeing people pushing it as a culture, there's something behind that. There's something behind that. People are being engineered towards something. People being geared towards something. Right? See, because if you just, let's just say, I'm going to get your calls in a minute. I see you 314 and 317. If you just eat vegetables, then you got to depend upon these people to get you the vegetables. See, it ain't like you, so you can always go to some water somewhere and go fishing and get a fish. Right? And you could always do something to clean the fish out or do something to, even get the, kill the mercury in it. See, that's how you could eat your food freely. But when it comes to vegetables, 9 times out of 10, you got to go get their GMO vegetables. Let me take a call. 314.
Hey, what's going on? This is Erica for Chesapeake.
Hey,
how you doing?
All right.
So, I wanted to mention the factor that I heard about people having a hard time, and I know you guys probably seen it on Facebook, of when people want to grow their own stuff. And, of course, when you own your own property, you think it's okay. But dealing with the city and the county, a lot of people been having their things cut down and chopped down without their permission. So my idea was, I'm thinking if we have like unincorporated area that we bought, and even in the unincorporated area, police can't even ride through like that. It's like strictly private. And I don't know. I'm just trying to think of ideas on how people can freely grow their food, and we can trade amongst each other, even city to city. You know what I mean?
Well, the best thing to do is to have moving farms. What I mean by that is trucks that carry soil in it, and you can plant soil and plant these things inside of your moving or your in your truck and whatnot. You can have soil in the back of the cab and whatnot, because you can plant soil anywhere and grow vegetables. So it has to be done small, because they really want everybody on this genetically modified vegetables. They don't want you having no vegetables with seeds. They want you to be on this genetically GMO fruit and GMO vegetables and hybrid vegetables. That's why they pushing the veganism thing.
Well, when I was reading about that, when I first found out about it back in 2008, the hybrid shit is about over 100 years old. So I think this is probably why we're having a hard time. You know how people, when they hear about information that, that you talk about in our brain cells and opening up our DNA, people think as soon as you hear it, you're supposed to instantly just tap into it. And I think that it's not just the atmosphere we're fighting with, but, of course, the food make up our blood. So if we have so much artificial, we can't even, we're like barely tapping on the lines that we need to open up our cells in our brain, our neurons. So I think they have a lot to do with it. But then again, I also think that it don't too. I mean, I'm on a thin line with it, because it's a lot that's against us in this man-made world. So I can't believe that every single thing that's against us, because when you find out of all the things that are against you, it'll drive you crazy. That's why you have to pull back. And so I think that it's still bigger as far as what your brain can do. It's still bigger than that. But I do know that at any moment I can die off from the bullshit that I eat too, so I have to help myself as well. And also, I know that it's a lot of estrogen in every single thing. Like, even as women, we can't even have too much estrogen, let alone men. And a lot of estrogen is creating a lot of this homosexual agendas. It starts with our babies, because women, they don't want to breastfeed no more. People instantly don't even give it time in the hospital. When we have our babies, even the hospital say that's the first thing that they need the babies to have is that instant, what they call, it's not even the milk. It's the, they call it liquid gold. They even want us to give them that before they have anything. And it's a lot of mothers that don't even want to do that anymore. So it's just a lot of estrogen in every single thing. So I think we're fighting off a lot, but also I think that being aware, but also not being so in a fear tactic. Because I have people now that send me Facebook links and tell me about different foods and tell me about, and it's going to be 100,000 things that you're going to find out that the beast is working against you because they had plenty of time to plan for it. So people have to understand that you're not going to have all the time to figure everything out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But like I said, this is going to force the majority of our people who's going to come together as a community, because the only way you're going to be able to survive is as a community of people who are working for, of, and by each other. If that's not going to happen, then it's just a band of loose Negroes that just scared and they huddling and they trying to survive, and they're going to go ahead and eat the GMO food. You can see within a lot of these people already, they've already been compromised. They already genetically modified. Their brains, everything about them, their whole process and their thought process is not even natural, and they're thinking anymore. It's just off. You can see it.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say. As a community, especially with the Mentellect, I think that it would be great when we put our money together, put these ideas together to focus on these things that really are minor, that's going to help open up our DNA, help open up our brain. Because I know people just want to instantly believe that fruits and vegetables are going to instantly just save them. And the reality is it's so much against you that that's not really going to work either. But taking proper steps to at least clean ourselves, that's going to give us a little head start. But, yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Okay. Thank you, sister. All right, Sister
All right.
Erica. All right, I'm taking another call. 317.
Hello, Nuben. This is the Alchemist. I have one question about the relationship. Part of my study is electricity, and I had a revelation while reading something one day. But I just wanted your opinion on this. Is there any relationship between magnesium, magnetism, and iron within the blood?
Yeah, it is. It is, and there is a magnetic attraction in everything. This is why Sadie was so heavy on the iron in the blood, because magnesium, manganese, and all of these are all elements that are based in a magnetic pulsation and attraction, and electricity that carries in that conductor. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. I was just thinking in a certain direction, and I just needed to get a quick opinion on the direction that I'm going, because this makes a lot of sense. I mean, I study things like when I'm watching movies, and I watched the movie Iron Man. I see that as a blood character. And I was watching X-Men Apocalypse, and I seen Magneto, how he was doing all of the things that he was doing with the web and stuff like that he was creating. And I've been having these strong revelations here lately about magnetism and the heart and things. But I don't even want to go too far, man. I just wanted a quick opinion on that.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. No problem, brother. All right. All right. So I think I touched on everything pretty much. Like I said, we know what we're supposed to be eating. And like I said, the majority of people are not going to accept that. So like I said, this is why we get off into little small communities and things like that. And, you know, we pass the information back and forth on what we're supposed to be eating, because only the elect are going to survive. There's only the elect are not going to fall in. Like I said, certain people, are going to just follow the way of the beast. They're going to eat the GMOs. They're going to do all that. But it's going to be people that are going to survive. They're going to live separate and live their way of life, and they're going to be fine, man. You know what I'm saying? So this ain't this. Even when I say this not for everybody, because, like I said, you live in some. If you're not nowadays, if you guys are not eating some form of GMO vegetables or some fake vegetables, and you smoking some sort of fake fake weed, or all the GMO marijuana, GMO vegetables. So a lot of you guys have already been compromised mentally. You've already been genetically modified. Like I said, you're going to produce homosexual and lesbian children in this next offshoot. A lot of you guys who was into this vegan thing, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of you guys, when you didn't have that protein source in you, in your makeup like that, you started eating all this, these artificial vegetables that were void of that protein. You eating those artificial vegetables, and it's going to eventually unleash estrogen in your body. It's going to a lot of these artificial. I bet you any amount of money it's going to come out that a lot of these hybrid vegetables are going to release some form of estrogen in your body. Being that they produce a lot of these, like your carrots and all that, produce sugar and things like that. Like I said, the terminology "sugar in your tank" going to be real. That terminology is going to get realer and realer. Because a lot of your hybrid vegetables are going to break down as nothing but sugar anyway. It's going to break down the sugar, and it's going to produce an estrogen override over your testosterone. That's why even Sabi said he don't eat. He's not really into fruit like that. He's not a big fruit eater. Me neither. Not a big fruit eater. My diet, like I said, my diet is very sporadic. My diet is sporadic. I might eat a piece of fish one day. I might eat a piece of chicken breast another day. I might not touch it again for 2 weeks. I might eat some greens one day. I might eat some grains one day. But you people in this vegan thing, y'all with your carrots, all you do, you eat your carrots, your lentils. You eat the same thing over and over again. There's no variety in nothing you do. There's no variety in nothing you do. You eat the same things over and over and over again. The same genetically modified vegetables, the same genetically modified smoothies and drinks and juices. You eat all the same stuff. And you know what? When you think about it, it's necessary. I'm going to tell you why GMOs are necessary. See, this is why I'm not against the Monsanto people. I'm not against the Illuminati with this. You guys got it right. You elites, you elites. You elites got it right. And I know y'all going to be surprised at me saying it. I'm not against it because you got too many people on the goddamn planet. You got too many people on the planet, and a lot of these people are useless eaters, and they're ignorant as hell. So you might as well just go ahead and give them GMO food. Because no matter what you tell them, they ain't going to eat right anyway. And what's the sense in sustaining a lot of these people's lives? They ain't going to amount to nothing. They're just useless eaters, just taking up space. So let them go ahead and eat GMO food. The intelligent ones of our people are going to eat the real foods. We're going to eat the real grains. We're going to eat the real meats. We're going to eat the real grains. We're going to eat the real greens, the grains, and the meat. We're going to eat the real stuff. You people, you GMO people, you GMO babies, you people that's taking up space, you're just going to go ahead and eat the garbage, man. Go ahead and eat the garbage of the white man. Go eat his GMO. Go ahead and be GMO hoes. That's me being funny. But anyway, that's it. Let me go ahead and read these questions before we get out of here. Why should women be vegans and men should not? Well, I say women shouldn't even be vegans, not for real. I'm saying you should practice more of eating these greens and these herbs and these grains much more than men, because you have to cleanse your body out. Because when you should be eating the fish as well. You should be eating a piece of fish. You should be eating a piece of chicken breast here and there. You should be eating these things. And you should be cleansing yourself out from these things, because you have more glands than men do. Right? And you're not going to sweat as much as men do to sweat the poisons out. But you have to have something in your body. You have to have a toxin in it, some form of toxin in it, of which you can get nutrients from, and after a while it becomes a toxin once it is not pushed out of your body. So you need these grains, and you need these greens to push these toxins out of your body after you have taken the proper nutrients from them, like from the meats and things like this. So we need that protein, which comes from the protons, right, for that boost. So I'm not even saying women should be vegans. I'm saying you should be, more balanced. We're going to come with another name for it, more balanced than we call it the solitarian diet. That's what I call it, the solitarian diet. We ain't vegans, we solitarians, right? Mentalians, we're solitarians. So y'all should all be eating that. But the sisters eat the greens more than the grains, and, you'll make proper breast milk for your children when you are, when you are conceiving and consuming, you're making proper breast milk for your children. These are greens you should be growing. Are fruits and vegetables supposed to be used? What are fruits and vegetables supposed to be used for as diuretics to clean out your system? They're not supposed to be to sustain or maintain your system. They're supposed to be to clean your system out. Was Sebi really a vegan? No, he wasn't. Dr. Sebi was not a vegan. He was into alkalism or alkalinism, and he was trying to find the best or the greatest alkalinity in a lot of different food sources, not just vegetables, which he came out and said a lot of this stuff is hybrid anyway. Why is veganism being pushed so heavily? Because they're trying to produce a genetically modified person, genetically modified people, mentally, physically, and spiritually. They're trying to produce those kind of people that can be controlled, who have they want to raise an artificial people on an artificial food, just like the Greeks were. Have black people ever been vegans historically? No. Which is why I don't understand why black people are falling for this. Should people be eating land animals? Yeah, no, not us, but the white man and all these other people, these Caucasians, these East Indians, and the Asians, they're going to do it. They can eat that with the rest of the animals. They can eat the same diet as the rest of the animals, right? But we're not supposed to eat that. We're supposed to, the smart ones, we're supposed to be eating like the fish and the birds, certain fish, and we're supposed to really go out and get our own stuff, or breed our own farms and raise our own fish and raise our own birds and things like that, and feed ourselves and hunt and fish for ourselves again. That's what we need to be doing. I pissed a lot of people off, you vegans, but so what? I don't care. I am the intellectual ᴡᴏᴍᴇᴅ. This has been Mentellect Radio. Join me Friday night for the next Mentellect Radio broadcast, and tomorrow join Sister Sindera Mendez for her hellified broadcast. She's going to come with something good. Check her out tomorrow at 10 p.m. Good night.
It's the Republic of Mentellect, rising out the black race to the white race, out the black race to the white race. It's the Republic of Mentellect, black race to the white race. If it's hell, and then it's hell us. They tried everything just to spell us. Fed us religion, gave us fake gods. Through all of that, we beat the odds. Now we coming together under one flag. Colors red, gold, and blue. Superman, Superwoman, that's me and you. The infinite capabilities that we can do.